so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, as we go into 2022, I believe it's possible that rent increases surge even more as we go into the year because less people are going to want to purchase property, being that it's overvalued and being that interest rates are on the rise. But the question is, just how much has rent gone up, and where should you move to if you have the ability to move? What cities have the highest rent? So I'm going to break down some cities as well with the highest asking rent, and it is astronomical the amount of money that landlords are asking. Now, again, I'm not saying that they're evil landlords necessarily, although BlackRock and Blackstone have purchased a lot of houses. They are essentially going at the pace of the market. So the real issue was the Federal Reserve, the lowering of interest rates, opening the floodgate of demand, people purchasing homes, inflation, stimulus, COVID lockdowns, etc., etc. But what we're going to do today is read an article by Redfin that's titled Rental Market Tracker, Asking Rents Rise 14% in June, the smallest increase since October. Now, it's the smallest increase since October, but I can assure y'all rent is still sky high, and it really, really is unfortunate renting. But I believe that we are in the rare occasion where it makes more sense to rent than it does to purchase, right? Now, normally I would never say that, but again, I think it's the rare occasion when that's the reality. Now, remember, I'm not your financial advisor. This is my personal YouTube channel, though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, and instructor in real estate in Texas. And if you guys could, for all my efforts trying to get you guys so much content, so much data, and keep you guys informed, please like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and shoot me a comment down below. I would appreciate it if you guys could do that for me. But let's get started on this article right now. Rent growth is easing as landlords respond to a tightening in tenant budgets brought on by inflation. Rent increases tapered off in June, with the national median asking rent rising 14% from a year earlier, the smallest annual increase since October. Asking rents were up 0.7% from May, the smallest month-over-month gain since the start of the year. Rent growth is likely slowing because landlords are seeing demand start to ease as renters get pinched by inflation. With the cost of gas, food, and other products soaring, renters have less money to spend on housing. This slowdown in rent increases is likely to continue. However, rents are still climbing at unprecedented rates in strong job markets like New York, Seattle, and areas like San Antonio and Austin that soared in popularity during the pandemic. So even though rent went up month over month by 0.07%, it's still going up. And the fact that it's gone up 14% year over year, that's not sustainable, right? So something needs to happen with rent. Eventually, they're going to balance out and possibly even trend downward. Now, normally, and what I was predicting is rents may get worse before they get better, but we're actually not seeing that. We're actually seeing a correlation with rent and home prices. So home prices have peaked, and we're starting to see them inch downward. Now, it's really astonishing because normally rent lags. So I'm noticing these trends. It's absolutely amazing. I want you guys to pay attention too. Let's hop back to the article right now. Now, as you can see here, look at what we're at as far as median national asking rent inched up in June. So you can see we're at $2,016 for rent. That is so bad. Pre-pandemic, we were obviously at $1,600. That's an increase of over $400, right? Or almost $5,000 a year, while median income has not gone up that much. So this is a huge problem. Obviously, now again, normally this will trend up. So the fact that this might be peaking could be a good news if you're a renter, that is sitting out like me. As we strengthen our situation, as we wait to buy, this could possibly be good news. But again, normally I would expect rent to go up. Now, it will probably start going down significantly once we have inventory, whereas home prices are going to go down because demand has been taken away. And the reason why we were in the situation we are was because of demand. But again, rent prices, normally we're going to need more inventory and more options for that to start going down or balancing and plateauing. So the fact, again, that it seems to be correlating with the prices of homes, is really quite interesting. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, that's really interesting. Let's get back to this article right now. And again, look at what I'm saying here. It appears to have peaked here at 17%, went down, went up, went down, sideways, went down. So it's really going to be interesting to keep an eye on this. And again, this is the percentage of asking rent. So it says asking rents up 14% year over year. So very interesting. Obviously, it's a little bit more healthy when it's a flat line. This is really tainted data because we went through COVID and lockdowns. But again, it does appear that we hit the peak already, and rent is actually heading downwards, which again can be very, very refreshing if you're currently renting or if you have to renew your lease. Because remember, I chose to renew my lease because I ran out of time. The housing market isn't going to correct in time for me not to extend my lease. But before I extended my lease, I negotiated with my landlord. She lowered my rent by $50 a month, but also I went and I was able to get an 11-month lease instead of a 12-month lease. So that also helps me. So all in all, really cool findings here, really cool happenings here. It's starting to look every single day like we are really in a really good situation so long as no one bought, so long as we did not buy in the last year. Now what I want to do is I want to show you the top metro areas, and the average asking rent is absolutely crazy. And that's why, if you're one of those people paying an astronomical rent, move. For the love of all that's holy, move and buy some property in another state like Texas for $2,000, $3,000 a month. In Texas, usually you can own a really big house with a lot of property instead of throwing it away in rent. But again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's time to buy. I believe we're in a rare situation to where it makes more sense to rent than it does to own for almost all Americans. But I want to show you these overvalued cities for rent right now. Y'all, this is absolutely crazy. This is the top 10 metro areas with fastest rising rents year over year. So Cincinnati at 39%, year over year, 39% increase in rent. That's hard to fathom, isn't it? Isn't that hard to fathom in 1 year, 39%? Seattle, 33. Austin at number 3, 32%. And this is probably why we see such high investor demand in these cities, because the rent is surging. Nashville at 31%, New York 27, another New York City here 27, New Brunswick 27, Norwalk, New Jersey 27, Portland 24, and another Texas city, San Antonio, at 23%. Just 3 of the 50 most populous metro areas saw rents fall in June from a year earlier. Rents declined 12% in Milwaukee, 7% in Minneapolis, and less than 1% in Kansas City. The same 3 metro areas saw rents declines in April and May as well. So some metro areas are actually declining in rent, which is pretty cool. To combat soaring rents, most cities should follow Minneapolis's lead. Minneapolis eliminated single-family zoning in 2018, and last year got rid of the rule that required residential developers to include parking spaces. Now, builders can replace parking spots with more housing units, which increases supply and therefore releases some upward pressure on rent. So this is really, really cool news. This is just more and more data as to the trajectory of our housing market, but not just inventory and prices and sales, but also rent is a huge factor. And also, now that rent's going down, if rent starts going down, how much investor involvement do you think is going to be in our housing market? If rents are going down and so is the value of their assets, investors are not going to invest their money in the housing market. Rents are going down and so are values. So that's going to give us an opportunity to purchase homes at great deals. But I don't know how long that window is going to be open. So what I'm saying is double down on your preparation, work on your credit, get excellent credit, save money, re-budget, get an additional source of income. And in the meantime, y'all, track your local housing market, love yourself, get excited, stay encouraged. It sucks right now, but your discipline will be rewarded, as will mine. Now, I always appreciate you guys watching these videos. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck and I hope you win.